So welcome back to the final part of the Hodgepodge blanket crochet along. You should now have all of your 30 squares joined, all with your beautiful zigzag join, and we are ready to finally add our border. So our border is not going to be absolutely boring, don't worry. Of course, there has to be a little bit of colour in that to keep it as modern as possible. And it's a really easy border. It only uses 2 different stitches, and that's the single crochet, the UK double crochet, and a half double crochet or UK half treble crochet. And we're going to work all the way around our blanket, working 1 row of single crochets. I'm going to start by working across my shortest edge so that we can do this one together. And I've got the blanket facing me so that I can see my zigzag join as opposed to the other side of the blanket. I mean, both sides are pretty, but I'm going to try and keep all my right sides facing me. So we're not going to do a boring join, don't worry. We're going to be using 1 or 2 colours. I'm going to be using my grey and my cerise pink as well, or bubblegum pink as the shade is called, because I want it to be a little bit interesting. So like we have done when we've done all the edges before, we're going to start by inserting our hook under one of the first stitches in the near a corner or in a corner if you want to. And we're simply just going to pull the yarn through the next ball of yarn. I will mention that I have already woven in all of my ends. I've got no ends showing on this blanket at the moment because I just want it to be as nice and neat as possible. So you can see that they're all woven in there to kind of keep things as neat as possible. So we're going to join in our corner here. So either into the chain 1 or into that next stitch. And we're just going to simply add on by pulling through our yarn, finding that working yarn and making a little small chain 1. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and what we're going to do is we're going to work 1 single crochet, 1 US single crochet into each stitch across, and then 1 US single crochet where our slip stitch border has been added. So we'll do a couple of these together. So I'm going to work back into that stitch where I just placed that chain 1. I'm going to work over this end and then I'll weave it in at the end as well. So we just yarn over and pull through 2 and work through each stitch across. What we're aiming for is an even number of stitches across each edge. So anything that's divisible by 2 is absolutely perfect. So we're just working 1 single crochet into each stitch across each of these squares and making sure that we place 1 single crochet where that slip stitch zigzag that we made to join the squares is placed as well. So continue working across the top of your first square. Leave that tail out so we can weave that in properly later. And just continue to work those single crochets. Just want to show you how to do this first part. So when we get to the first of our joins, we're going to work through, so you might have to force your hook through where that slip stitch is and work 1 single crochet. And then we just continue all the way along, continuing with 1 single crochet. There's a corner here, it's a bit tight. There we go. So we just continue working those single crochets. It will just straighten off the edge of the blanket. And we're going to work all the way along, working 1 single crochet. And I'm going to meet you in this far corner where we're going to add our corner in. Just remember to place an extra single crochet in the top of each of these joins. And do keep an eye on your stitch count because ideally we do want an even number of stitches by the time we reach this corner. So keep working all the way along and I'll meet you over here. So I've worked the whole way along the top of my blanket, adding 1 single crochet into each stitch along, and of course placing my extra single crochet where our zigzag join is. and I've reached my last stitch, or the corner stitch, and together I thought we could work our first corner before I leave you to complete this round, this first round of our border. And what we're going to do is, in that last stitch, we're going to work 2 single crochets, so that's 1 and 2, followed by a chain 1 and adding a further 2 single crochets into that same stitch. And what that does is it gives us a really nice corner. If you want, you can pop a stitch marker into that chain 1, but you'll find it quite easily again, I think, when we come back round for round 2 of this blanket. So now we're going to work down the long side of our blanket, and we're just repeating that the whole way round, working 1 single crochet into each stitch across, working an extra single crochet where we've done our zigzag join, all the way down to our next corner, where we're going to place 2 single crochets, a chain 1 and 2 further single crochets before continuing to work down, and then around the other edge all the way back up. We're going to work those corners into each of those corner spaces. Now when we get back here, we just need to work our corner in that last space there, and I'm going to meet you here ready to slip stitch and join, and so we can go into round 2. So continue to work your single crochets into each stitch, work your corners with 2 single crochets, a chain 1 and 2 single crochets, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of round 1, ready so that we can go into round 2. So I've just finished my final corner, so I've done my 2 single crochets, a chain 1 and 2 single crochets into that last stitch. I'm just going to join the round by slip stitching into that first stitch that we made, just to join it. So ideally, as I've said, we should have an even number of stitches across each edge, and that includes our corner stitches. What we're going to do for round 2 is we're continuing in our main colour. In this instance, I'm using my grey for round 2 as well, and then we'll change colour in round 3. So for round 2, we're going to chain 1, and this time we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch around. So we've done our chain 1, and it doesn't count as a stitch, so we're going to work into the same stitch that we've chained 1 into by yarning over, inserting the hook, yarn over, bring our loop up, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops in our hook, and we're going to repeat that all the way down to our corner. So obviously in those corner stitches we have those 2 single crochets, chain 1, 2 single crochets to work into. So in this instance, because we're working in half double crochets, we're going to work 2 half double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 half double crochets. And that's all into that chain 1 space when we get there. So keep working across, and I'll meet you in the corner so we can work that together, just so that you're happy that you're putting those all in the right place. So at the moment for round 2, we're just working 1 half double crochet into the top of each stitch across, all the way down to that chain 1 space. So I'm just working the last couple of stitches towards my chain 1, and then when I've reached my chain 1 space, it's quite small, but what we're going to work into this corner is we're going to work 2 half double crochets, a chain 1 and a further 2 half double crochets, and that just maintains that corner shape really nicely so that we can continue to work all the way down. So we're going to work 1 half double crochet into every stitch across all the way to the next corner, where we're then going to work into that chain 1 space again, placing 2 half double crochets, a chain 1 and a further 2 half double crochets. Going to repeat that all the way back to the beginning of round 2, which is all the way back here already. And once we've worked this final corner, we're going to slip stitch again, and then we're going to change colour to add a final bit of colourful flourish to our Hodgepodge blanket. So I'll meet you back here for our final corner, ready to slip stitch and change colour for the final round. So I'm just going to work my final corner, which of course is 2 half double crochets, a chain 1 and a further 2 half double crochets all into that chain 1 space, and then I'm going to work my last couple of half double crochets before we slip stitch into the top of that first half double crochet that we made to join that round. And actually I'm going to change that. I'm going to slip stitch with my new colour. So I'm going to insert my hook under that stitch, change to my bubblegum pink to do that slip stitch, pulling it nice and tightly, and then I'm ready to fasten off my grey. I'm going to need a nice long tail because we're going to have to weave that in, and then we're ready to work our final round. So I'm going to do a little chain 1 just to secure that colour change. How lovely that corner looks. And then we're ready to work our final round. So as I said, I'm going to be working in a contrasting colour. If you want to make your border any wider, you can just continue to work around adding half double crochets. Each round will probably add about 1/2 inch to the width of your blanket, and it just makes it a little bit more bold when you do this final round. So for this final round, we're going to start by making 1 single crochet into the same stitch we just slip stitched into. And then we're going to work a double crochet, but we're going to double crochet into the space underneath the next stitch. So can you see, this is our next stitch here, and there's that little hole there. So we're going to yarn over the hook, insert our hook down into that space underneath the next stitch, yarn over, bring our loop up to the height of our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're then going to skip that stitch, which you can see we've kind of worked over here, and we single crochet into the next one before we're going to go at the bottom of this next stitch and work our double crochet, US double crochet, and it's going to create a spiked stitch all the way around our blanket. So we skip that one that we've just worked over. Make sure that you're holding your work straight. So this is the next one for us to work into, working our single crochet, yarn over the bottom of this stitch here. We're going to go into that hole and complete our double crochet. And we just continue all the way around working that. We can find the bottom of that stitch and work that double crochet, and then single crochet into the next. Now I think this is going to look absolutely stunning. If you don't want to go quite so bold, you can of course just do another round of the half double crochet. I am making this as bright and bold as I can because I think it's absolutely fab. I think it's a really bold look, and it's just going to finish off the edging. You can see that it's going to tie those colours together and really look quite striking when it's done the whole way around this blanket. So continue all the way across, working your alternate spike stitches, followed by a single crochet into the next. So we're double crocheting down to 1 row, and then single crocheting into the next. And I'll meet you at the first corner, and we'll do the first corner together so that we know what we're doing for the rest of the round. So once we've reached our first corner, we're just simply going to single crochet into the top of each stitch, and then into the corner where that chain 1 space is, we're going to work 2 single crochets, a chain 1, and a further 2 single crochets, and that keeps the height of the square where it needs to be. I'm kind of loving this edging so much. I love the fact that it's completely reversible, and also it looks a bit like a blanket stitch. So because of the different heights, you've got those lovely spikes. It looks just like that blanket stitch. I'm going to work a single crochet into the next stitch after the corner, and then begin the spikes once again by working that double crochet into the bottom of the next stitch. And then we're just ready to continue all the way across I'm kind of using my hook as my guide to see where the next one is going to be placed. So keep working all the way around to the next corner. Repeat this again. So you've got, you should have a single crochet, 2 single crochets, a chain 1 and 2 single crochets, and that will give your corners quite a nice open look. So continue all the way round to the very, very beginning, back to where we started our edging, and I'll meet you in this corner here, and then we're going to be finished and we're ready to weave in those last remaining ends and celebrate the fact that we've finished our blanket. I'm then going to tell you how you can be in with a chance to win a very nice yarny gift. So keep on crocheting all the way around. I'll meet you back at that final corner and then I'll tell you all about it. I was so excited to finish my last corner. I've already worked it and I'm just going to work one more spike stitch. My stitch count is clearly off somewhat because I shouldn't really be doing another single here. Oh no, I don't need to. I'm just going to slip stitch to join into the top of that first single crochet that we made. No one's going to notice that, are they? Can make a little chain 1. I hope you're doing the same as we speak, because that is it. We have finished our stunningly beautiful Hodgepodge blankets. So we have officially finished our Hodgepodge blankets. I am so proud that you've also followed along and made your own blanket. Of course, I want to see your finished blankets, and this is where our competition can come into play. If you share a photo of your finished blanket on your social media and you tag any of my social media accounts, not yet on TikTok, I might be by the time this comes out. If I am, I'll pop a link in the description box. So I need you to tag me. My handles are Cozy Rosie UK, Facebook and Instagram. You can email me a screenshot of where you've posted it. If you've posted it in one of the groups, if you posted it in my group, it all counts as an entry to win a prize. I can't show you the prize with you just yet. Just know that already I think there are about 15 balls of yarn in there. There's going to be a couple of crochet hooks. There's going to be some stitch markers. And of course, lots and lots of yarn and lots of loveliness. I really hope that you've enjoyed making your own Hodgepodge blanket. And I cannot wait to see your own finished blanket, of course, too. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Cozy Rosie Crochet, this YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that you know exactly when that live competition is going to be drawn. So send me your entries, send me your photos of your finished blankets, and I will catch up with you very, very soon to draw the winning prize.